This is President David O. McKay in front of the old First Ward building in Phoenix.
And it was Crispin and Corwin's privilege to walk up and shake hands with a prophet of God. He had spoken here at this building, and we stayed around till everyone had left. This is at Grandpa Lewis's, Waterby Lewis's funeral. These are his nephews that are carrying it. There's Warren Peterson and Aaron Peterson and Leroy Bryan Holt, and there's Aaron Peterson. And here's the grave site at Grandpa's funeral. He lived to be about 87 years of age. And I spoke at his funeral along with Farmer Brown, who also spoke. Nick Udall's father, John H. Udall, come down to speak, but this is 1953, and we're at Yuma, Arizona. And when we'd go to Yuma, when I was serving as the district president of the Yuma district, we would often take our families down and stay at a hotel. And there we are at the El Rancho Hotel, which was operated by Ralph and Shirley Swenson. And so sometimes the weather would be just a little cool, but they just loved to go swimming. And we're real brave with the jackets on. So Daddy pushing Dancel, Crispin, and Breel and Corwin. We were all, as you can see, very, very husky and manly and specimens of the human race. Brave Crispin dares to go out on the springboard, daring. Oh, that's Corwin, yes, because this is Crispin following in pursuit and showing such great bravery. Father's trying to give him more courage, to get him to demonstrate him, to show him how he can do it. If you just try. Jackknife, feet slightly split, not showing perfect form. Showing off for his kids. So skinny almost loses his trunks. Here's little Dancel daring to go in. Just a little cool. And so she goes in reluctantly, taking her breath away. Yeah. Now she gets a little braver. Beginning to get the spirit in the water. Now it's beginning to be fun. Now it's fun. Daddy's arm, she feels secure and has begun to enjoy it and to splash herself. After this, Dancel would hardly take off her swimming suit if she could help it, and even when she would take it off, why, she'd carry it around with her because she loved to go swimming. She just thought that was a great experience. A little bit like her mother, though. She didn't like the water in her face. The office, and we're going to our room into the El Rancho. Here we are at conference in Salt Lake City, and there's President Dale Farron, president of the Yuma branch, and President Dick Wright of the Gila Bend branch. We got up together in a couple of caravan cars and to catch the spirit and enjoy the beautiful time at conference. And this is the 1953 and the October conference. Here's President Irvin Fleming and Martha, and at the same time at conference. Back in Ajo, and here brave Crispin is growing up a little bit more, riding his pony. Now he can ride it a little bit by himself. Still just a little bit concerned because Red could be a little tricky sometimes and break and run. You see the corral behind. Corwin can now mount the pony by himself and can make old Red trot and has pretty good control. Red was a beautiful little Welch pony, and had a nice suit, nice saddle. Here Muriel begins to become a cowgirl, and you see the desert across the street from our home. This is now the county park, and loaded on his Dancel, Brielle, Crispin, and Corwin, all four taking a ride on to Old Red. You see the tailings dump behind of the mine in the distance. There's Dancel now alone and beginning to feel just a little bit secure. And of course, helping hand reaches out just in case Red wants to take a dash. And Dancel clicking her tongue, giddy up, horsey, giddy up, giddy up. Oh, and here's Mother Muriel. Oh, this was a scene never to be forgotten. Daddy with Dancel, making old Red trot.
We always laughed at this picture. I said that I just took a good picture of his wallet, and that's about all. It's amazing how barren the desert looks across the street. And now there's so many houses over there and a park. This is Daddy and Dancel on Red. He's getting a workout today to show off the kids. Crispin going to try to join his dad and sister. Here's Uncle Glenn and Aunt Joy and Stephen and probably Annabelle down there by our patio. They have probably come from Yuma. I believe they were living in Yuma at this time. And of course they were proud of their little kids too, like we were when you were all that age. Here's Dancel, grown up a little. Sorry, her slip's showing just a wee bit. But now she's given way to another member of the family in the nest, and the new one is Stainer that I'm holding. But there's how Muriel and Corwin and Chris looked about this time, Dancel. And then we have a new member now, Stainer. This is Muriel as a cowgirl in the Ajo parade, 4th of July parade, getting ready to be in the parade. Here's Stainer, just a few months old, bright red copper hair, enjoying life, relaxing. He was a handsome boy. Here's Denzel, and then Corwin is a cowboy. Here comes the parade down Solano Avenue. You see the mountains in the background. This is the main street going into the plaza. The high school band, Raiderettes. Helen Broom was the queen that year. I've forgotten her maiden name, but anyway, she was a member of the church and a lovely girl that you just saw go by. There's Mariel as part of the parade also. She may be a little insecure, but she made it. This is a Cub Scout den, and it's headed by Shelley Briggs. And we always knew Shelley was just a really fine lady, and then later she worked for us in our office. And later still she joined the church, she and her husband both. Here's another picture of Stainer and that copper red hair that we were so proud of. We were very proud of this young man. Everybody commented on his hair because it was so thick and so red. This is the old meeting house in Snowflake, Arizona, on the main street. And it's at the time of the funeral of my grandmother, Rogers, Minnie Alice Woolley Rogers. And we were privileged to go to her funeral. And this is her casket being borne up the hill a little to be laid to rest in the cemetery there. Grandpa and Grandma Smith were on a mission in Michigan at the time, and so they were not able to be there, but we were privileged to be there. This is some of the grandsons. We went with Dorothy and Gerald. Gerald and Dorothy were living in Globe at the time, and I believe we went with them. And so you may spot Gerald somewhere. This looks like Gwen putting a wreath on, and several of the granddaughters. And oh, I guess that was me. And now here's her daughters and son that's living. Aunt Thurs and Aunt Flora, Aunt Jane, and Uncle Ike. And my mother, of course, was living, but she wasn't there. They were on their mission at the time. Now, all of them have well, I shouldn't say all of them. Aunt Thurs is still living, and so is Aunt Jane. Aunt Flora and Uncle Ike have both died, and my mother. There's Aunt Thurs. She's the youngest in the family. And there's Aunt Jane. She's the oldest, and she's still living. They had quite a desolate-looking cemetery. There's Aunt Flora with Ted and Gwen and their children. This is Ivan Barrett. He is the husband of one of the granddaughters, and Aunt and Grandma loved him, so he spoke. This is the little home out behind Grandma Rogers' house, and this is where my mother and father lived when they were first married. This is my grandmother Rogers' home that I remembered going to when I was a young girl. It had a big tree out in front that we loved to climb. On the way home, we enjoyed having a snowball fight, just for the record. This is Gordon and Lily Lund. We were privileged to go to his graduation from the University of Utah, or University State. Utah State University. I'll get it right in a minute. They lived in Logan, and we, the Flemings and us, went up there for his graduation and enjoyed being with him. We had become very close friends of the Lunds and loved them very much. And it was great to be with them. This is some of their children. This is their oldest daughter, and I'm sorry I can't remember her name. She was born in Ajo. The Tournament of Roses in California, and by now the Lunds lived in Arcadia. And so we took the opportunity and went to see the Tournament of Roses, and we stayed with the Lunds, and we were able to see the Tournament of Roses. And of course, we thought that was the most beautiful they had ever been, because there we were, right there. And so a great deal of what you'll see now is the tournament, or the parade itself. And here's Corwin coming across the street. They say now you have to get there the night before in order to get any kind of a seat on the street, which I think some of them did then too. This is the 65th annual Tournament of Roses. The Grand Marshal, and I cannot remember who it was that year, but it was a military personnel, as you can see. Bands from across the nation are invited to come and play and march. So I'm sure it's a great privilege to be invited to march in the parade for the Tournament of Roses on New Year's Day, 1953. This is the Queen. You can almost tell by their hairdos what year it is. The parade was always so beautiful, and we thought this was so beautiful. And as all of you know, everything must be made with flowers. And they fly in flowers, and they raise flowers, and they have flowers from everywhere and every kind. It's just amazing how many different kinds they have.
Here's Hopalong Cassidy, which was one of the favorite cowboys of Corwin and Christman's time. We hadn't had a camera very long, and we had never seen such gorgeous colors and beautiful floats, and we were so impressed that we just couldn't stop taking pictures, and we took about 10 rolls of the whole parade, and so we're having to suffer along with to see all the things that were so exciting to us when we were a young married couple with our children. This is Ramona and the Indian princess of Southern California days. Looked like Roy Rogers. Look at the trappings, more silver than we'd ever seen in our lives. Cinderella and her pumpkin. The sound of 12. Most beautiful horses and elegant riders.
This is Steiner, grown up just a little bit, and Mariel's holding him. I don't know just how old he is here, but no doubt it's into 1954, yes. Big grin, heavyweight that he was. Ansel Lunt saw him once, and with me sitting in church with him, said, "Do you ever feed him?" This is Chrisman, without a patch. He's talking to me. I don't know what he's saying, but he's explaining something. Dancel, arms folded, ready for primary. By the back steps, it looks like. Corwin, also. Here's Stainer sitting on the lawn, testing the grass, probably to see if it's edible. He drew lots of attention because of his lot of hair and the color of it. Dancel taking care of Stainer. Stainer's full name was Stainer Brian Lewis, named for President Brian Bunker of the California Mission, who was our really good friend. And we admired him and revered him, and so we named Stainer after him. Here he's not quite so happy. The little crew's getting a little bigger. I don't know where Mariel is at the time, but these are the little ones anyway. You'll notice Chrisman's belt and Corwin's are cinched so tight that there's almost more belt out of the buckle than there is in. This is on our patio before we enclosed it with a family room. Dancel cautiously swinging. This is, as you can see, it's been exposed twice, but we wanted to keep it because it does have some shots in it that are good occasionally. This is in Utah on a vacation there. The kids went fishing. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, though. It was at a fish hatchery, I believe, and so they caught all these fish. But they thought it was great. Too bad we took a picture of the fish, not the children. This is the Manti Temple on one of our trips to Utah. Probably taken from the car as we were traveling along. Then as we came up the hill, we could see it. This is Grandma Lewis's home in Hillsdale, Utah, and I'll let Dad tell about it.
This is where Grandma Lewis was born, in this little log cabin. Hillsdale is just out of Panguitch, and just out where the road goes into the Vermilion Cliffs of Bryce Canyon. It has an upstairs and a fireplace, and it was there's Grandma Lewis carrying Dan Sale and Stainer in front, and Maria coming along with Corwin in the back. Just to the north of this cabin was the great field where the great hailstorm was taking place. This is our family back in Aho again. Briel, Corwin, Crispin, Dansell, and Stainer, with our beautiful bougainvillea bush in the background. And yeah, all of them had BYU shirts on. Having gone up there for Education Week, why stayed a whole week there, why they all got Y shirts on, and we pretty well brainwashed them, indoctrinated them to all go to the Y for their education. And so all of that group did. Mother Mariel with carrying Stainer with that bright colored copper hair, thick and coarse, and but as it began to grow out around the edges, the bottom you can see it's beginning to turn a little sorrel color rather than the bright copper red. He was a delight for everyone. Everybody just looked at him and laughed. This is our little dog, Miss Jet. We got this in Provo, Utah from a doctor who had attended Mother, and we brought it back to Aho. Corwin on his birthday. Can't count the candles to say how many, but probably his 8th birthday. Anyway, we had the fence from his Pioneer set and put the candles in it. And here's all the presents that he received. And there's Briel, there's Grandma Lewis, and Aunt Lorraine, Uncle Bud's wife, and with Uncle Bud Melvin, and that would be David and Donnie and Kenny. Stainer down there in front riding his little cart with Crispin and Dansell in front. Here's Uncle Bud and Aunt Lorraine, and they're David, Donnie, and Kenny together. This is in Los Angeles at the California Mission Home, in the shadows of the beautiful Los Angeles Temple.